Have you ever felt something inside you has changed, but you can't explain exactly what? As if you were seeing life with other eyes, realizing patterns, signs, and even feeling a stronger connection with the universe? Well, no, this is not a coincidence. The entire planet is undergoing an elevation of consciousness, and many people are already vibrating at the fifth dimension frequency, without even realizing it. But here is the detail that no one tells you: this transition is not something external, but inner. It's not about waiting for a cosmic event or a big global change, it's about realizing the signs that are already emerging in your daily life. You may have started to feel less attached to the material, maybe your intuition is sharper, or even your diet has changed without you planning. All of this are clear evidence that your vibration is aligning with a new level of consciousness. And the big question is, are you already living this transformation without knowing? How to recognize the signs and understand if your vibrational frequency is already in the fifth dimension. In today's video, you will discover 11 powerful signs that indicate that your energy and vibration are already high. Some of these signs may surprise you, and others may be happening to you right now. So if you have already noticed changes in your intuition, more intense dreams, or even an inexplicable desire to move away from negative energies, be aware. You may be closer to the spiritual ascension than you think. The earth is vibrating at a frequency never before experienced. If before the world seemed trapped in a cycle of fear, scarcity, and separation, now a new reality reveals itself: the fifth dimension is becoming accessible. This change is not visible to the naked eye, but it can be felt. Have you noticed that certain situations that once made sense now seem empty? Or that your perception of life is more expansive? This is because your conscience is tuning this new vibration. Everything around you is being reconfigured, and the more you align, the more you feel this personal transformation. Spiritual rise is not an external event, but an internal journey. And what does that mean in practice? It means that old patterns are crumbling. Systems based on control and manipulation lose strength. The search for inner peace intensifies. People are questioning their jobs, their relationships, and even their diet. The dense energy of the third dimension is no longer compatible with those who begin to awaken. If you feel a call to change, either in the way you think, feel, or act, congratulations. This is a clear sign that your vibrational frequency is rising. But this change does not happen without challenges. The release of the ego becomes inevitable. After all, the ego is the structure that keeps us stuck to fear, comparison, and the need for external validation. Awakening to high consciousness requires that we leave behind what no longer serves. Some people resist, others embrace this new reality with confidence in the universe. The secret? Allow the process to happen. Meditation, connection with nature, and high vibration practices, such as gratitude and forgiveness, accelerate this transition. And the signs are everywhere. Have you noticed how synchronicity increased? How do certain numbers, people, and messages appear at the exact moment? This is no coincidence. The universe is guiding you. The more you trust the flow, the more the paths open. If before you needed effort to reach something, now everything starts to happen naturally. And this is just the beginning. Because as your intuition is strengthened, you see life in a totally new way. Have you ever had that feeling that something would happen even before any external signal? As if an inner voice whispered the right way? This is not imagination, it is your intuition awakening. As the vibrational frequency rises, this natural capacity intensifies. Small details gain new meanings, and situations previously seen as coincidences become clear messages from the universe. Intuition is not a gift restricted to a few, but a refined sense that anyone can develop. It all starts with the practice of full attention, listening more, talking less, and observing the signs around. Intuitive awakening also changes the way we interact with the world. Have you ever felt a strange energy upon entering an environment or near certain people? Rather, this could be ignored, but now it becomes impossible not to realize. This is because the connection with energy and vibration around is clearer. Loaded places seem to suffocate, while light and natural environments provide a feeling of instant refill. High consciousness makes us selective with what we consume, whether information, conversations, or even food. And the more we trust intuition, the clearer the signs become. Lucid dreams become commonplace, bringing messages and answers to internal doubts. Often the rational mind tries to ignore these signs, but the heart already knows the answer. If you feel you should go a new path, but fear prevents you, remember, logic may hesitate, but intuition never misses. One way to strengthen this channel is through intuitive writing. Take a paper, take a deep breath and write any thoughts you come. You will be surprised by the answers that your own conscience can reveal. The universe always speaks to us, but we only hear when we are ready. Therefore, pay attention to synchronicities, repeated numbers, unexpected encounters, phrases that seem to be spoken exactly to you. These messages are like light arrows indicating the right direction. To ignore them is to opt for the most difficult way, to follow them is to enter the flow of the manifestation. And as you learn to trust in these signs, the ego loses strength, giving room for something much bigger. The ego has always made us believe that we are separate, that we need to prove our value and that life is a competition. But something has changed. As the vibrational frequency rises, this need for self-affirmation begins to disappear. A deeper understanding arises: we are not our possessions, our titles, or our fears. True essence is not in the unbridled pursuit of recognition, but in the inner peace that comes when we free from these illusions. The ego screams, requires, compares. High consciousness, on the other hand, only observes and trusts in the universe. This does not mean that the ego must be eliminated, it has its function. The problem arises when he dominates us, arresting us to destructive standards. How many times have you been reacting automatically to criticism, feeling the need to justify your actions or proving a point of view just to feed pride? This is the trap of the ego. The fifth dimension invites us to get out of this game. Instead of reacting, we begin to answer with conscience. We breathe before speaking. We choose the silence when there is no need for dispute. We realize that winning a discussion is not always really a victory. And how to know if the ego still controls you? Just look at how you deal with rejection, criticism, and frustrated expectations. If something does not go as planned and it consumes you, it means that the ego still has mastery. But there is a way to liberation. Practices such as meditation, gratitude, and forgiveness dissolve the barriers of the ego, allowing emotions to flow without resistance. The next time you feel angry or frustration, try to ask, does it really matter? Or is it just my ego feeling threatened? Most of the time, the answer will be liberating. As the ego loses strength, something magical happens. Unconditional love occupies this space. Judgment decreases, compassion grows, and the feeling of unity strengthens. It is as if a dense mist dissipated, revealing a clearer view of reality. And this clarity brings a powerful perception that everything and everyone is interconnected. Have you ever felt that? Does that moment when a simple exchange of look or a gesture of kindness seems to carry a transformative energy? Yeah, this is the first glimpse of something even bigger. When the vibration rises, something within us changes. Suddenly, that need to always be right begins to lose strength. The weight of judgment gives way to the lightness of understanding. We begin to see people beyond their actions, understanding that each one is living their own journey. Unconditional love does not mean accepting everything without discernment, but to look at the world with more empathy. Anger and resentment are replaced by a genuine healing desire, both internal and external. This change does not happen overnight, but those who have experienced know, it is impossible to go back. True unity is not just a beautiful concept, it is a real experience. Have you ever felt a deep connection with someone without logical explanation? Or did you feel that every living being, from a tree to a stranger on the street, is part of something bigger? This is the awakening of high consciousness. When we realize that we are all interconnected, the competition gives way to collaboration. The suffering of the other becomes ours as well, and the desire to contribute to a better world naturally arises. Small gestures, a smile, a hug, a word of incentive, have a deep impact. And do you know the most interesting? The more we vibrate in this frequency, the more the universe responds. Toxic relationships begin to dissolve, giving room for genuine connections. People who share the same values appear on the way, as if they were magnetically attracted. This is the energy of synchronicity in action. If before there was distrust, now there is confidence in the universe. Everything flows more lightly. What once seemed like a fight now becomes a simple energy alignment. This does not mean that challenges disappear, but that we have learned to face them in a completely different way. And when this understanding expands, we realize that love goes far beyond what we imagined. It is not something we need to achieve, but an energy that already exists within us, waiting to be awakened. The ego made us believe that love comes from outside, that we need someone or something to complete us. But when we access the fifth dimension, we understand that we are the very source of this energy. And by trusting this flow, we began to live in a way that once seemed impossible. For a long time, we were taught to fight, plan every detail, anticipate risks and control everything around us. But the great truth is that life has never been under our control. The difference is that, in the third dimension, we try to resist the flow, while in the fifth dimension we learn to navigate with it. Trusting in the universe does not mean being passive, but understanding that there is a natural rhythm for all things. How many times have you tried to force a situation and it just didn't work? And how many times, when released, has it all happened unexpectedly perfect? This is the secret: the less resistance, the more alignment. This does not mean that challenges will cease to exist. But instead of seeing obstacles as punishments or failures, you begin to see them as necessary realignments. Everything that seems a delay or loss can actually be a disguised protection. Imagine someone who loses a job and, months later, gets a much better opportunity that would never have considered before. Or a relationship that ends and, in the future, it is clear that that cycle needed to be closed for something more aligned to emerge. The universe always guides us, but it is up to us to trust the process. And how to strengthen this confidence? The first step is to observe the synchronicities. When you begin to notice patterns, such as seeing repeated numbers, finding right people at the right time, or getting unexpected messages that answer your questions, you realize that there is greater intelligence acting behind the scenes. Another powerful way to practice this delivery is through meditation and intuitive writing. Whenever you feel anxiety about the future, try writing your concerns on a roll, and then listing every time life has surprised you positively. You will see that the universe never fails. In surrendering to the flow, life is no longer a battle and becomes a dance. You still make decisions, but they come from a place of peace, not fear. The hurry decreases, stress dissolves, and a new feeling begins to take care, the certainty that everything is already happening exactly as it should. And when this confidence is established, a new power awakens, the ability to manifest reality consciously. Everything in the universe is energy. Every thought, every emotion, and every word we emit creates waves that shape our reality. If before we believed that life was randomly happened, we now understand that we are co-creators of our destiny. Have you noticed how, when you focus on fear, everything around seems to go wrong. And when in a state of gratitude, things flow more easily. This is because its vibrational frequency attracts situations compatible with your energy. To manifest is not simply to wish, it is aligning thoughts, emotions and actions to what we want to attract. Science has proven this. The double crew experiment in quantum physics showed that simple observation alters particle behavior. That is, our consciousness directly influences what happens around us. But the manifestation is not limited to thinking positive. It requires clarity, intention and, especially, aligned action. Do you want a new job? Feel the energy of already being in it, visualize the details and take attitudes that bring you closer to this reality. Want to attract healthy relationships? Raise your vibration, be the person you want to find and allow the universe to do your part. But there is a crucial factor: limiting beliefs can block your ability to manifest. If, deep down, you believe you don't deserve something or that life is difficult, this energy will be reflected back to you. This is why many try to manifest unsuccessfully. Conscious desire is there, but the subconscious is programmed for the opposite. To reprogram your mind, experience daily statements, techniques such as EFT, emotional freedom technique, or even therapeutic writing, where you re-signify your beliefs. Internal change always precedes external change. And when your energy is really aligned, the results arise almost magically. You think of something and suddenly you get a signal. An unexpected door opens. Right people appear at the exact moment. Synchronicity intensifies. And this is when you realize, manifestation is not a trick, but a natural ability of high consciousness. And the more you understand this, the more you feel the desire to purify your body and your mind. When the vibrational frequency increases, the body also feels this change. Suddenly, certain foods that once seemed irresistible begin to lose their appeal. Fast food, excess sugar and ultra-processed foods begin to look heavy, and a natural desire for more living and nutritious foods. This is because food has a direct impact on body energy and vibration. Natural foods, such as fruits, vegetables and whole grains, carry a high energy frequency, while industrialized products, full of chemical additives, can lower this vibration and even make it difficult to connect with intuition. This transition does not happen by obligation, but by an internal call. Those who undergo this personal transformation begins to feel the effects of each food on their own body. After a meal rich in raw vegetables, for example, there is a feeling of lightness and mental clarity. Already after a very processed meal, tiredness, irritability, and even difficulty of concentration may arise. Food in the fifth dimension is not based on rigid rules, but in internal listening. Have you noticed how your body reacts after consuming certain foods? Paying attention to these signs is the first step in adjusting your diet intuitively. In addition, the process of eliminating physical and emotional toxins intensifies. Many feel the need to reduce meat consumption because they realize that foods carry not only nutrients, but also the energy of their origin. Others begin to pursue practices such as intermittent fasting, detoxifying teas, or even raw food-based diet. This change does not mean restriction, but alignment with what brings the most vitality. The main question is no longer, what should I eat? And it becomes, how does this food make me feel? And this food change is reflected in all areas of life. As the body purifies itself, the mind becomes clearer, intuition strengthens and vital energy increases. Have you noticed that after a healthy meal, your disposition changes completely? Yeah, this is just the beginning. Because when you raise your food vibration, you realize that it is not only foods that need to be adjusted, but also the environments and the people around you. As high consciousness awakens, everything that does not resonate with this new frequency begins to dissolve. Suddenly, empty conversations seem to be boring, loaded environments cause discomfort, and certain relationships begin to seem more about a weight than a genuine connection. This does not mean rejecting people or situations, but understanding that everything is energy and that by raising your vibration, what is not naturally aligned moves away. The universe works like a magnetic field. We attract what mirrors our frequency. If you are growing spiritually, but you feel that some relationships are getting difficult, it may be a sign that your energy is changing. Negative thoughts also lose space. Before, it was easy to get lost in cycles of worry, guilt, and self-sabotage. But now, there is a deeper perception that each thought carries a vibrational signature. Have you noticed how a single negative thinking can overthrow your full day? Or how can a simple change of perspective completely transform your reality? This is because what we focus on expands. Keeping high vibration means consciously choosing thoughts that strengthen rather than weakening. Positive statements, practice of gratitude and meditation are powerful tools for this. And it's not just people and thoughts that need to be filtered, environments also carry energy. Messy places, loaded with conflicts or full of negative memories can directly influence your emotional state. Have you ever entered a space and felt an immediate weight? Or, on the contrary, have you ever been in a place that made you feel instantly well? To keep your vibration high, it is worth organizing your home, eliminating objects that carry heavy memories, and even use crystals or incense to purify the environment. Small rituals like these make a huge difference in their daily energy. As this cleaning happens, life becomes lighter. Without the weight of dense energies, there is more clarity, more peace, and a greater connection with the present. And the more you align with this frequency, the more you feel an irresistible call to something essential, the deep connection with nature. Have you noticed how a simple outdoor ride can completely change your emotional state? How does the noise of trees, the sound of running water, or even contact with the ground bring an immediate feeling of peace? This is because nature vibrates at its purest frequency. She is not stuck to worries, anxiety, or ego, simply flows. And as our energy rises, we feel an increasingly strong call to be in this environment. The connection with nature is not just a refuge, but an essential energy recharge for those who are going through the process of spiritual ascension. This bond goes beyond a walk in the park. Many people begin to feel the need to touch the barefoot earth, a habit known as grinding, that helps discharge dense energies and stabilize vibration. Others are attracted to river, sea, or waterfall baths, as water has a deep power of energy purification. The simple act of embracing a tree, something that once seemed strange, now it makes perfect sense, because it is possible to feel the exchange of energy with this living being. Have you ever tried to do this? If not yet, try and notice the difference. In addition to immediate well-being, this connection also brings a deep awakening. The rapid pace of modern life disconnects us from our essence, and nature reminds us of who we really are. Therefore, so many people begin to look for smoother places to live, feel the need to reduce the time in closed environments, and even change their daily habits to include more outdoor moments. The change in food often comes together, as the body begins to ask for more natural foods without artificial excesses. It is as if we gradually return to the original state of balance. And as this connection is strengthened, an even greater understanding arises. We are not separated from nature, we are part of it. The illusion of separation dissolves, and the perception of unity and interconnection intensifies. Each leaf, every drop of rain, each living being carries the same universal energy that flows within us. And when this truth becomes clear, something extraordinary happens, even in our dreams, which become much more than mere random images. At some point in the spiritual journey, there is a click, the perception that nothing is really separated. If life before it seemed fragmented, me and the other, the internal and the external, the physical and the spiritual, now everything begins to intertwine. The energy and vibration that roam the universe are the same that flow within each being. We are not isolated islands, but parts of a large interconnected network. This understanding does not come as an intellectual concept, but as a deep and undeniable feeling. It's the moment you look at someone else and see yourself in it. This change affects all relationships. Judgment loses strength, because you understand that each one is exactly where it needs to be on your journey. Anger dissolves, because it is clear that every conflict is born of the illusion of separation. And empathy grows naturally, not because someone said it is right to be empathic, but because it is impossible not to feel the other. Have you ever been thrilled to see someone realizing a dream? Have you ever felt gratitude for something simple, like a sunset or an unexpected smile? These are small signs that your consciousness is expanding to this unity. But this perception is not just in the emotional field, it transforms the way we live. The priorities change. The desire for external status or validation loses meaning. Which once seemed essential, accumulating goods, competing, proving a point of view, now seems irrelevant. Instead, a new purpose arises: to contribute, serve, share. The idea that each for itself dissolves, because it is evident that individual and collective well-being are intertwined. Small acts of kindness now have a much greater impact than any material achievement. And as this conscience is strengthened, something curious begins to happen in dreams. They are no longer only disconnected fragments and become vivid experiences, full of messages and symbolism. Lucid dreams, encounters with spiritual guides and deep revelations become more frequent. And then you realize, the separation between the awake world and the dream world is also an illusion. Learning continues as we sleep, and intuition expands even more. During the process of spiritual ascension, dreams are no longer just random images and become true portals of consciousness. Many people begin to experience lucid dreams, where they realize they are dreaming and can consciously interact with the dream environment. Others report encounters with spiritual guides, mysterious symbols and even direct messages from the universe. This is because, in the fifth dimension, the barrier between the physical and the spiritual world becomes more subtle. What before seemed distant now becomes accessible, just pay attention. And these dreams don't come by chance. Often, they bring answers to doubt that the conscious mind has not yet been able to resolve. Have you woke up with a strong feeling that your dream tried to tell you something? Or did you notice patterns if you repeat, like certain numbers, places, or people often appearing? These are signs that your intuition is communicating with you. A powerful practice to decipher these messages is to keep a dream diary. By writing down details as you wake up, you begin to notice connections that previously went unnoticed. Also, the quality of dreams changes. Many are no longer confused and convey a sense of peace, learning and expansion. In some cases, experiences are so intense that when you wake up you feel that you were elsewhere, as if something real. This is because, during sleep, our consciousness can travel to higher dimensions and access information we have not achieved in the awakened state. Techniques such as meditation before bed and the use of crystals like amethyst can help intensify these experiences. Over time, dreams become a powerful tool for personal transformation. They reveal emotional blocks that need to be healed, indicate ways that the rational mind does not consider, and even reinforce the feeling of unity and interconnection. The more you pay attention to them, the more you realize that life awakens and the dream world is interconnected. After all, if everything is energy and vibration, why would there be limits between one state and another? And when this perception settles once and for all comes a certainty: ascension is not something that will happen in the future, it is already happening now. Now that you know the 11 signs that your vibration is already in the fifth dimension, the big question is, how many of them have you noticed in your life? Perhaps you have noticed a stronger intuition, changes in food, or even a growing desire to move away from negative energies. All of this indicates that you are already in this process of personal transformation. But here is the question: what are you going to do with this knowledge? Spiritual ascension does not automatically happen. It requires attention, practice, and a commitment to its own evolution. Now that you are aware of these signs, you can further intensify this transition, strengthening your connection with nature, taking care of your vibrational frequency, and trusting in the universe. The more you align with this new energy and vibration, the more your reality transforms. Are you ready to take this next step? If this content has made sense to you, leave a comment telling which signs you have already identified in your life. I want to know your experience. And if you want to keep learning about spiritual ascension, manifestation, and high consciousness, you already subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because we have much more to explore together. The fifth dimension is already a reality, and you are part of this change.